Good morning to most, good afternoon to others, and good evening to the viewing audience across the pond. I am your host, Jason Miles, here for another episode of Pop Life, brought to you by the very good people at This is Revolution Podcast. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Saturday morning. It's pretty lovely here. If you're a returning listener, subscriber, or one of our very valued patrons, so glad to have you back here with us. As you can see, I'm not in my usual studio in Mexico. Hell, I'm not even in Mexico. I'm in LA. I stayed here last night after Ben Burgess and I had our lonely commie Valentine's Day at the Rainbow Bar and Grill in Los Angeles. After this show today, Ben and I are going to be heading to UC Irvine, where we'll be speaking on a panel at the Platypus Society's West Coast Conference. If you're in the area and want to check it out, the panel starts at 12 p.m. and will be held in the Humanities Gateway, number 1030. Also, you can now watch episode 1 of Kayfabe, as well as all the other TIR video essays we've done over the years. You can find them all on Means TV, and if you use the discount code, This is Revolution, all one word, you can get 20% off a monthly or yearly subscription. Also, if you enjoy what we do here on TIR, stuff like the call-in shows and, of course, the champagne room, the best way to help support what we do is become a patron. For as little as $3 a month or $30 for the year, you can have access to champagne rooms past and present. Join us for movie nights. I'm bringing back more patron call-in shows. Those have been fun. We did one the other night. That was a good time. So again, patreon.com/Bitterlake Presents. And if you're interested and you're like, I don't know if I want to commit. I don't know. You can try it out. Yes, there is a free trial offer for 7 days. If you see me constantly looking around, Ben has a cat that I'm terrified of because I've been attacked by a cat before. And I believe all cats are vicious creatures. But today, let's talk about the year in music, 1995. In 1995, the world witnessed significant events that left lasting impacts. The tragic Oklahoma City bombing shocked the nation. The Bosnian War concluded. O.J. Simpson's highly publicized trial ended with a not guilty verdict, and the music world mourned the loss of Tejano superstar Selena Quintanilla. I was actually very hurt by that as well, not going to lie. I did become a bit of a Selena fan after the movie. And I think personally that had she been alive for the release of her English album, she would have been a massive, massive pop star, especially for the 90s. Amid these pivotal moments, the music scene thrived with diverse genres capturing the public's attention. Alternative rock saw the Smashing Pumpkins rise to prominence with their album Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. While hip-hop and R&B dominated the charts, Coolio's Gangsta's Paradise. If you're a longtime listener, you know my history with misinterpreting Coolio lyrics. Topped the Billboard year-end Hot 100, reflecting the genre's mainstream success. Dance music also gained popularity with acts like Real McCoy and, of course, Crystal Waters, making significant chart impacts. The interplay between music and the era's political and social climate raises intriguing questions. Did the music of 1995 mirror the social upheavals and cultural shifts of the time? Join us as we dive into the year of music, 1995. Let me bring in my good friend. Give me 1 second to bring him in to discuss these things with me, Conan Neutron. Please welcome, coming all the way live from a secret bunker somewhere in the Midwest, Conan Neutron.
Hello. Hello. Yes. Hello, everybody. First of all, Lonely Commie. That's, I think of Lonely Woman by Ornette Coleman. That would be a your like jazz song. Lonely Commie. You know, that's good. Also, you can only call it a champagne room if it's in France. Otherwise, it's a sparkling hangout.
Wow.
And thirdly, that cat was throwing mad looks in the background. So just watch out. You got
Really?
an interloper. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The cat's like, oh, we're on. Hold on. What?
Yeah.
Am I in frame?
The cat is it's here for trouble. I didn't sleep last night. I sound like this because the cat. I'm sure the cat was like, "Who the fuck is in my house?" But the cat. I look at all cats as like predators because they are, but predators of they're fearless. So the cat perched on because Ben has blow up mattress. I was on the floor, and the cat perched and just watched me the whole night, and I watched him back. So I was like, I'm not sleeping till you're asleep, motherfucker, because this is war.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, you are in his house, right?
I'm in the cat's house, and the cat is like, I got to make sure that you're on the up and up. Not in a racist way.
Oh, no. It's more of a speciesist way.
It's just, yes.
Yeah, I firmly contend that, cats are like people. Some of them are great. Some of them are real pricks, like whatever. But I've been lucky enough to have some great cats in my life. So there you go. But anyway,
someone said Jason's a giant mouse. I am a giant mouse to this cat. Cats are the most fearless motherfuckers.
Trying to keep that on the down low. The deep state ever found out about mouse life. Mouse life, everybody. Mouse life. That's where we're at today. Hey, stoked to talk. So first of all, stoked to do another one of these. This has been a great series to do. I'm always happy to do them, and I think it's, as I've said before in previous episodes, I love it because I never have to prepare for it because I've been preparing my entire life.
And I want to. Fuck. And the cat loves to walk on my computer. Okay.
That tail! You got big tail energy going on right now.
Yeah,
great. He's like, oh, you're doing something?
Butthole.
Yo, check this ass out.
Yeah. Butthole. Yeah. That's of all the ass I want to see. It's
not that one. Not that one.
Yeah, it's pretty low on my list.
Yeah, did you smell it though? No. No, I didn't. I didn't.
A big reason why I'm doing this, Conan, is because I had realized at the beginning of the year, kind of around the inauguration, I was like, oh shit, it's 2025. I've been out of school for 30 years. I've been out of high school for 30 years.
Right. Yeah.
I put a post on social media. I went to a very small high school. I don't know if you know anyone that went to my school. I'm sure you do. Do you know Dave Rude that plays in Tesla?
No, I do not.
You don't know Dave?
But I do remember the classic Bust the Nut. So. Hashtag never forget.
You know someone. I think you know someone.
I mean, like, it's one of those things where it's like, there's some people I'm like, hey, what's up, dude? And I'm like, what the fuck's that guy's name again? But like, and that's just the world of music. But yeah, Bust a Nut came out in '94, by the way. Just checked it. Just checked my work. Doesn't qualify for this show. Tesla, Bust the Nut, everybody. Their fourth record.
But I put a post on social media like, oh, I would like to see my friends again from school, and that turned into a whole reunion committee was formed on this social media thread.
Oh, sure.
For 95. So I was like, you know what? Conan and I are both the same age. We both came out of school at the same time. Why don't we look back at the year in which we graduated high school to see if there was anything good? Because 94 was such a good record, or such a good year.
Crazy year. Like, I think if we were... First of all, putting years in competition obviously is a fool's errand. But if you're sitting there and trying to figure out, hey, which of these like had by aggregate total of subjective taste, which one had the most like awesome records, be the foundational, be the something where it inspired a genre, or inspired some other bands down the line, or just records that slap. Right. Again, for our own personal sensibilities, strong case for 1994. Crazy year, like in the way that coming of age around that time is sort of like, oh, this is what every year is going to be like. And then it wasn't. It was like, oh no, we had it really good, and we didn't realize how good we had it.
Well,
much like climate change. Thank you.
Well, did you watch the documentary that came out recently on Lollapalooza?
Yeah, actually, I did. And you know what? I really dug it until it got to the modern stuff, and then I was like, oh.
Well, because it becomes a commercial for Lollapalooza.
Because then it's just like, all right, none. First of all, everything you're giving yourself too much credit now. Like, arguably, the beginning they don't give it enough credit, and then they give it too much credit at the end. It's like, no, it's not as important as you think it is. But it is really interesting when you think about the nature of indie, alt, whatever you want to call it, package touring and whatnot. And it just being like, Jane's Addiction was going to do a last tour. Oh, let's bring these bands on. Oh, let's bring this. Oh, let's just make it a whole thing. And then being like, oh, this is like something different now. So it's almost like came together by accident, but in a way that if they hadn't created it then, it certainly would have come along at a different time. And I hate to phrase it this way because everything has to be in tired ass boomer cliches. But, our generation needed their Woodstock. It's just that our Woodstock toured. I include that with the actual Woodstock too. That doesn't count. That was something else. But it's something where something like that was going to come along eventually and just happened to come along in that way. And Perry Farrell, for the band's got flaws, don't get me wrong, but he was able to recognize that and turn it into something that, you love it or loathe it, you wouldn't have a Coachella without Lollapalooza. The Us Fest is probably the closest thing that you ever would have had. The thing that Steve Wozniak funded in the 80s, which is a great documentary on that too. But that was
there's
just like
2 years of Us. Yeah,
place.
there's only 2 years of Us. There's only 2 years of Us Festival, and Us Festival is also in an era of actually the second year especially trying to have multiple days of a certain genre of music, which I'm actually not opposed to.
Same. But it's also
if you look at
the 80s. It's the 80s. That just wasn't done. There wasn't like something of that. There wasn't something of that size and scale focusing on that kind of music at all.
And I want everyone listening to know that this too, as someone that worked in large music festivals, nothing has come in the United States has come to that scale since.
Yep. Which is crazy to think about, but that's
crazy to think about. And if you think about the stuff in the 90s, especially even Woodstock 99, even the high point of Lollapalooza was still not even close to Woodstock numbers. But if you think about how many people were coming out to stuff like that in an age where you have terrestrial radio and MTV.
So you have the closest thing to a monoculture, right? And then also you have one thing I liked about the documentary is it didn't shy away from showing the, as cheese dick as it sounds now, like the whole rock the vote thing, and like they were registering voters and like all the other like elements that go beyond just like the, getting trash in a field and like listening to cool music. Like there were other social elements to it that people now associate with the internet and with social media was not around then. This was one of the only ways to like kind of find your people. If you went to a Lollapalooza, you could probably just strike up a random conversation with someone and have like something in common with them. Be like,
I went to a Lollapalooza. Did you ever go to a Lollapalooza?
Yeah, I the one I went to the one that was Devo, Soundgarden, and Metallica, aka the first one that it's sold out.
94, 96?
96, 97, I can't remember. But I remember people were mad as hell that Metallica was playing a Lollapalooza. And I was like, whatever, dude. And also, like, Cows played, Melvins played. Like I said, Devo, Ramones. The only time I ever saw the Ramones, Lollapalooza. One of my favorite bands of all time.
Do you think that in 95, something like Metallica, metal music in general, has reached this weird point where we're little guys coming up with this music and you're an outsider if you listen to Metallica? And for me in junior high, if you had the Metallica or Slayer shirt, you were a weirdo. By the time we get to 95, when Metallica's got the success of the Black Album, and I believe the first Load is 94.
Load, yeah. It might be. Is it 94? It could be 95. I don't remember. But Load.
It wasn't the outside. It wasn't 95. But those records were so huge. Metallica was such a big band. Megadeth, Slayer, all those guys are playing stadiums. They become jock music in this way that they never were jock music maybe
before
5 years before.
Well, I think there was, from my perspective anyway, there was definitely a split between the only people that weren't in the group would call them the alternative kids, but like the punk rockers and indie rockers versus the metalheads. And there was sort of, everyone could agree on Slayer and Motorhead. Yeah, that was about it. But it was sort of, it wasn't like antipathy. It just was, it was a distinction that if you try to explain it to people now, they're like, what? Like, this is like you didn't hang out together? It's like, no, because that felt like a different culture. And it's silly because if you stop and think about it, it's like, well, it should be like all these things versus like, the pop kids or whatever. but there was, Metallica was, to borrow a Mudhoney song, In and Out of Grace, with the non-metal kids for a number of years. Like everyone thought that Enter Sandman slapped, right? You know why? Because it slaps. Is the Black record the best record? Hell no, it's not. Of course it isn't. No. But there was crossover appeal on all that stuff, and the metalheads would be like, "Oh yeah, Soundgarden's got some killer riffs," okay. So people, there were cross pollination, but there was way more of a. needless distinction drawn between the two, I think, than people even give it credit for now, because culturally that was never documented. In fact, there was never anything. What was documented of the quote unquote grunge scene is like just like the most like absurdist, cartoonish representation of what it was in the first time. And there's whole elements of it that like just not even mentioned because it wasn't cinematic. But there was plenty of great things happening in a lot of genres around that time, and just what hit the monoculture is what hit the monoculture, and we're at the time '95, I think, is when the wave starts to crash back.
95 is an interesting year too, because as I'm going through this list of music, the list I showed you, our secret archive of records that we don't want anyone to know where we get these lists from.
That our top researchers compiled, years and years of research, millions of dollars of think tank money.
Yeah.
We're using this think tank money for what? Oh, okay.
If you look at this list, Conan, and I'm going to be serious. I'm looking at this list and I'm like, I don't know a third of these. No, I don't know 80% of these artists, right? The playlist right now, which is not done, by the way, is 19 hours long. And unlike 94 and 93, it's 19 hours of I have no idea who these people are.
I mean, I could easily help you with this. If I remember correctly, I still worked at Tower Records this year, at least for half of it. So I could definitely help you with that, because there was like what I hated, which was a lot. No. I was a young man, and there was what I loved, and there is some really cool killer stuff, killer records that I can still listen to today, and also killer records that are like, oh wow, that was wild, influential, and it's crazy how nobody talks about this record or this artist because of that.
Well, let's talk about some of these records. I'm sorry, sure. Again, the cat is it's gonna kill me.
The cat works for another show and is trying to sabotage this one.
The cat works for Majority Report.
Like I said, Cat Intel Pro. Thank you.
Here we go. There we go. Okay, so on the screen.
So this is the list you made that shit. Was
Jesus fucking Christ. Where did it go?
Well, I can kick us off. I mean, so the first one you have on there is the Bends. Radiohead, the Bends. Which yes, I'm the first one to admit. I was like, I still thought Radiohead was just creep, and which I was like, oh yeah, that one song is good, that record stinks. I didn't bother even checking out the Bends when it came out. I know, crazy.
Did you like that record? Did you like the Bends?
That first record? Oh, I love the Bends. When I went back and listened to it, hell yeah. But like I, for whatever reason, had just wrote them off. I wrote them off, and then when the one after that, OK Computer, right? And I was like, oh, well, this is really good. I better check out that record before. And I was like, oh man, this is badass. Like, what was my problem? So it took me a couple of years to kind of wise up to Radiohead, which I'm glad I did, because that means I got to be in it and a fan by the time they did Kid A and Amnesiac and all that, and sort of like experience that of like, oh wow, they went hard with some different stuff on this one. But honestly, if I'm gonna listen to Radiohead today, it's probably a toss-up between Amnesiac and the Bends.
No In Rainbows. Are you just that happy in your life you don't want to hear In Rainbows?
In Rainbows is good. And I know people that they write hard for In Rainbows. I like it. I just don't. It's not one I just throw on. Although we did do...
If you ever want to cover Weird Fish's arpeggios, I will literally come on stage and sing that.
Okay, all right, that'd be out of the box one, boy.
If you dare try to cover it, I will come on stage and I will sing the shit out of that song, and we will have the whole crowd in tears.
Did you ever hear? There's a band. Oh my god. What are they called? They're like a
Labia Head?
Pop metal. No. What? Did you just make that up? No, come
on.
No,
I did not.
Fuck
I did not make that up.
Labia Head.
They're called Labia.
How have I lived my life? Do you think the next thing I was going to say is Labia Head? There's no way I was going to say those words. Get out of here. That there was a. They got me all twisted. A cover of, I want to say, Street Spirit, maybe like that last song. Maybe I'm wrong. That like a kind of one of those pop metal bands did. The Darkness, maybe? Like, is that the one? Yeah, that.
Yeah.
They made it was like half speed metal, like half power grunge. Like, it actually kind of goes, man. Like,
That sounds like something the Darkness would do.
And I gotta say, like, I was never a hater on the Darkness, but I was like, not really my deal. But then I heard that, I was like, okay, that makes me kind of like him a little more. That's a bad.
The singer for the Darkness, his name is Justin Hawkins. He has a YouTube channel where he plays his guitar, which he's a insane shredder.
Oh, sure.
And just talks about music, almost like a more friendly Rick Beato kind of.
Okay, sure. All right, yeah.
Just not because Beato's like, he's a producer, so he's very critical. Justin Hawkins is a musician, so he's just like, oh, this person is nice. But it's a great YouTube channel if you like music.
Well, like I said, I highly, if anybody's a Radiohead fan, or if you're not, or if you're a Darkness fan, I guess, go find that version of, I think, like I said, I believe it's Street Spirit, because it's one of those things, sometimes you hear a cover and it's so different from the original, and you're like, oh, that's so cool, that's so smart. This is one of those times. So there you go. Big cat energy in that room right now.
I'm telling you, dude, the cat is just like, I got him now.
You're a pussy magnet.
I'm gonna die. This might be my last show.
We think it's gonna be like what was that Tales of Terror, where the cat sits
No, that's from Tales from the Dark Side.
Tales from
It kills dude from the New York Dolls.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
The next record is
Bjork. Army of Me is that was huge, and that was huge in a way that even if, like, everybody knew that song, at least, even if they didn't know the rest of the record.
This is where I am with music, and I don't know if you feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at 94 and 95, especially when you get into the stuff like the Nelly Hooper stuff, all that Bristol stuff that was coming out, trip hop, Tricky's, I don't know if this is his first record, but there's a Tricky record on here that comes out. Portishead. If you listen to that stuff and then listen to a lot of modern music, electronic music now, it doesn't sound that different. But if we were going to go from 95 to, 30 years before 95, 1965, this music would sound fucking insane. Imagine playing Bob Dylan, Jizza and Method Man's. He would be like, what is this?
Next thing you know, Bob Dylan's rapping. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
It's so rapid fire. Like, what's going on?
I mean, what is Subterranean Homesick Blues if not like, proto
his version
rapping? Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Like, if you think about like how he has like the meter and the flow with everything, it's if look, say what you will about Dylan, like that's dude was like playing around with the genre more than people realize.
Maybe he had the DeLorean and figured it out. But what's interesting, I don't know if you
listens to Cream and comes back and writes that. Sure, okay, yeah, all right. Why not?
Cash rules everything. That's a new character for the show, Hip Hop Bob Dylan.
Oh man,
where the hose?
Amazing. No, but Army of Me, the thing about modern, like sort of electro, I don't know, whatever they call it now, it doesn't have that industrial thing, right? And the thing with Army of Me is it had the, like it was like, oh, we got some grit. Like it's like almost sounds like could be like Godflesh or something, like on the rhythm section. It's like, oh yeah, and that's what made it cool for like rock kids like me to be like, oh, what is this? This is I haven't heard this.
It's a heavy song. It's one of the heaviest songs I've ever heard to this day.
Well, I think it's Army of Me it's When the Levee Breaks. I think it's a sample from When the Levee Breaks, if I remember correctly. So of course it's
is that what that sample is from?
Yeah, the drums. Sample? The drums are. I mean, I think that the C is the bass line is not, but it's like look, start with like one of like the best rock drummers of all time. You're going to probably have a pretty decent basis to go from. But I think that it's crazy because it isn't a record of just that, too. Like Bjork played around a lot with genre, but this is where because this is
those first two records Nelly Hooper, I believe, produces, and those first two records are for a lot of people their favorite Bjork records, because after that
Right.
it really takes a left turn into
Yeah, she does some stuff where it's like all that Matmo stuff where it's like, oh, it's like a
Yeah.
the freaking it's a cardiogram but in musical form. Okay. But debuts not for me. Respect, not for me.
You
but
don't like Debut?
Oh no, I was saying the cardiogram Matmo stuff. No, Venus is a Boy's good. Human Behavior, that one's cool. But I thought that this one is sort of like
Debut was of its time.
Debut sounds like a
1993.
'90s record. Yes.
1996 Army of Me, because someone asked me the other day. They said, "I want to get into Bjork. What should I listen to first?" I said, "Post."
Yeah.
I said, "Post is the most accessible record. The first record sounds like music of the 90s, and it may be off-putting to you,
Right.
but this 1995 album, I think you can put it against most stuff that's out similarly now, especially by a lot of these young ingenues that mix a lot of electronic music, like a Billie Eilish.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's
sure.
that big of a. Again, you can play Billie Eilish, which is 30 years. I swear to fucking God, cat.
Yeah, it's like
don't.
oh, Cat's a Wu-Tang fan. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm probably gonna get flamed for this, but like post-era Bjork is Billie Eilish with better songs, you know? Because you listen to something like what she's doing, like with those "Oh So Quiet," which is that big,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh my
Busby
God, Oh So
Berkeley
Quiet.
style musical, but it's like, oh my God, this kicks ass! Like, how does this kick?
And
this
there was
much
a
ass?
video for it too.
Ah,
That's
great.
when I was like sprung when I saw the video. I was like, okay, I need to
Yeah.
find a woman like this.
I need to find me a pixie elf like this.
Yeah.
Where's she at? No, but like a hyper ballad. It's crazy how big that record was, and it's crazy how people never talk about it ever.
Never.
Like
It's
I
not
don't.
that weird. It's not
And
that weird.
There may be something to that because she's maintained like a consistent career that has gone further and further out. If we're gonna make a film analogy, she's made like 7 inland empires. Right, so it's like, oh, nobody remembers Blue Velvet now or Mulholland Drive because it made 7 inland empires, and I think that's too bad. I mean, I Bjork's cool, man. I think that record especially is probably her most listenable, like timelessly listenable record. Like it doesn't sound of that era, which a lot of a lot of records on this list kind of do.
Someone says I don't have Guided by Voices. That's a lie. The Guided by Voices on this playlist is 19
Just because it's
hours
not
long.
on the goddamn screen doesn't mean we don't have it. Keep patience,
Jesus
people.
Christ.
Jesus H. Christ.
So Wu-Tang comes out in 1993, and
Right.
they are kind of part of the hyper-capitalist nature of hip-hop, where if you are part of a group, you can then splinter off and make solo records, and Wu-Tang embodies that better than anyone else. Record labels love it because it's like, oh, there's 15 of you motherfuckers. Looks
Yeah.
like we got 15 #1 albums.
Yeah, bankable. And to be clear, they kind of originated that. That's all RZA. I mean, like, if anybody did that before that, I don't know anything about it.
No, you don't, because you don't know that many black people. Ha ha, ha. Just kidding.
Yeah. No,
But
I'm talking about at that
there was rap
level.
groups.
Well,
not at
sure,
that-
there
not
are
at that
rap groups, but
level.
at this level where, see, what you're doing is you're not hearing what I'm saying. You're trying to get a cut on me, and usually you're above that. So I'm siding with a cat on this show. Cat, go get his ass. No,
You've been sending mind messages to this cat the whole time.
Exactly. I've been telepathically in contact with my agent.
Oh shit!
Oh, see, I told you, don't fuck with him. Don't fuck with me either. No, at that level, and the level that like it was all sort of planned, like, hey, we're gonna make this record. We're gonna take the best of everything we do, and then after that comes out, we're gonna make sure that everyone gets their own shot at doing what they want to do for their own record, and then like we're gonna come back. It's gonna be limited. It's like almost contractual, right? Even though it's more of like a bro code contract. Like nothing like that had been done before. There had been aspects of it before, but on that level and with such. Yeah, and I guess you've
Not
got to
with
be
the
capitalistic,
branding.
commercial success and branding, right?
Not with the same kind of branding, because you do have it with Ice Cube and his people beforehand with like Lynch Mob. You definitely have it with hieroglyphics. Del the Funky Homo Sapien comes out in 91, Souls of Mischief in 93, with the same little hieroglyphic moniker, but it's
right. They
not
got the
done-
branding, but it's an NWA. It was by accident.
right?
because
Yeah.
everybody couldn't stand each other. Well, not everybody, but you know what I mean. But like the
But hip hop also in that is 91 and 93 isn't where it is in 95 as like big time pop
True.
music. Again, the number one single of 1995 is Coolio Gangsta's Paradise.
Right.
So that's letting you know that hip hop in 95 is in a whole different place. So where Wu-Tang comes up in 93,
yeah,
that kind of branding makes so much more sense. And later
agree.
we're going to get into the clothes and all that other stuff that's going to branch off of hip hop.
And in a way, I think Wu-Tang Clan were decades ahead of their time, especially with like the 360 stuff, like I said, the clothing off. I mean, that is like everybody does that now, right? Hey, nobody was doing that in the 90s. Nobody.
No.
I'm not. It's not at that level, certainly, and it's BC Boys got into it a little bit, but it's like in that same way of it, just like the branding. I highly recommend the Hulu show. It's a show that came out on Hulu. And
was that the documentary or the show about them?
There's a documentary. Documentary is cool, but I actually came around to liking the show better, even though some of the people playing some of the characters don't sound or look anything like them, which is kind of weird. Especially the guy who played RZA, awesome, doesn't sound or look anything like him, but there's some really cool stuff creatively as far as how they film it and how they present everything. And it's presented in a, like in that comic book myth-makey way, but like in a good way. It was very entertaining. And it actually made me appreciate aspects of the Wu-Tang family maybe a little more than I did before. But I just thought it was a good watch. So if
the
people
documentary is a hard watch. The
documentary is
a hard watch.
Well, and like, it's cool, but yeah, it's kind of like there's some kind of bad vibe like thing about it for sure.
Oh, the tension in there when they're like, we didn't authorize him to do this, and when he sold the record to that guy, we did. Oh, that's very uncomfortable to watch, dude.
Yeah, so I think it works better in the show. I thought the show was very entertaining, and again, I don't think that it's like a heavy watch or anything, but it was one of those things where I was like, I did not expect this to be this good. You know what I mean? I was like, I'll check this out. I'll check it out. I mean, I watched that Sly Stone documentary, and it was great, even though it was sort of like, I feel like the end of it's like, was it really that happy of an ending? And technically speaking, it's not ended at all, but it's sort of like, you're not mentioning how a man was living in his car for a while. But
I haven't seen
it was good.
I really want to see it. It's good.
It's highly recommended. I love Sly and Family Stone, and I think he has not been given his due historically as a musical innovator.
No, not at all.
Even close.
You don't have Prince without Sly Stone. You do not have Prince without Sly Stone.
Exactly.
You don't have George Clinton without Sly Stone. Even though George Clinton was around before, not the same way.
Not how we know it. Not how we know. Yeah. Not how we know of him. That whole.
That.
Yeah, it kicks ass. It's really good. And it's done by what's his face who did like Summer of Soul and all that.
Questlove?
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't stand that guy.
Fair, but like there's a reverence for the topic that like he digs up cool stuff is what I'm saying. And he's not on cam or nothing.
No, I'm sure it's done well because he is a fan and actually has encyclopedic music knowledge. So I can't fault him for that. Shook Ones by Mobb Deep is, in my opinion, the epitome of New York hip hop. If an alien was to come down and say, "What is this rap you speak of?" I would probably play that song. That sample is stuck in my head. If I'm walking in New York to this day, I hear that in my head as I'm walking. Whatever borough, I could be in Queens. I'm gonna hear fucking Shook Ones in my head.
Nice. It's a very specific ask this alien has. Yeah, but yeah, it's you're ready. You got it on the tip, so to speak.
But I think I don't know about this whole record. I wasn't the biggest Mobb Deep fan, but there's something funny about this too, and I want to hear what people have to say in the chat about this, or see what people have to say in the chat about this. Mobb Deep gets put in the same category as what we're going to call lyrical rappers or later backpack rappers. But the irony to me
that's a real term. I've never heard that one. That's amazing.
Oh,
backpack rappers.
Backpack. They still, my kids say that, which I think is funny. Like, oh wow, you guys still say that. But if you listen to that song, it's got the boom bap beat that you get from a lot of that kind of music.
Sure.
but they are killing people in every song. Every song they're killing somebody in. They're the most murderous motherfuckers. Same thing
Oh
with
yeah.
Wu-Tang. There's a lot
Yeah.
of killing and murder in these two groups that get kind of lumped in the same category as what we're going to call conscious rap or backpack rap.
Yeah, I still got a body count higher than a Quentin
lyrical.
Tarantino movie.
Oh
Yeah.
fuck yeah! Oh yeah, fuck yeah! You're gonna die. You're gonna die. Mobb Deep song. You're gonna die.
Dangerous song to be in. Yeah, exactly.
Your favorite band, Smashing Pumpkins. Look, Conan,
Sorry.
we can get Billy Corrigan on this show if we try hard enough
God.
and use the secret. You want Billy Corrigan on this show.
Not really.
Damn. That's so mean.
He seems like a prick, man. Sorry, I don't know. I don't really care for the music either. So like the fact that he seems like a prick and I don't care for the music. Yeah.
This song is actually a pretty good song.
See, and this is the problem. Anytime I mention not liking Smashing Pumpkins, I get into a conversation about Smashing Pumpkins. That's the problem. So
this song isn't bad.
well,
you can bump this song.
It's not like I haven't heard it before. Look,
and it came on. You were like, you flipped him off. You're like, no, I'm not fucking with you.
It's not for me, man. I don't care for it. There's like a couple
Is
like
it
things where I hate his voice, but like I don't know. There's something. There's something about the whole package. I just don't like like. If someone's like, well, you got to admit the riff for Cherub Rock is great. Yeah, you want to pick great riffs from terrible bands? Great, let's make that playlist. Like it's not for me, man. Like I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum on it because like if you think about it, like. Sorry. Peace and love. If you think about it, like, there's a lot more things to be mad about in this world, right? Like, okay, like, there's a lot of people I love who love this band. They fuck with it hard. It was important to them. So good for them.
I can't believe you said that. Great riffs from terrible bands.
That would be a good playlist, actually. Now that I talk about it,
Where do you put the riff? Where do you put the arpeggiated riff of "Wanted Dead or Alive" by Bon Jovi?
Well, Bon Jovi's horrible. So yeah, I mean that's a good riff. Though. Yeah,
that's right.
A perfect example. Somebody, let's get our top stenographer on this right now. Start making this list. We'll shout them out. There was a bunch of '90s hits like these, like flash in the pan '90s bands that where it's like that's a great riff. Too bad about the song and or singer or band. Like it's. I feel like the '90s were rife with that, where it's like. Look, if you're a riffsmith, you could ply your trades on the riff markets and make a great living for yourself. Riffs for sale, sir. Would you like to sample my wares? Dun, 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 dun. Okay.
That's how I'm still Conan.
This is a great bit. Why are we getting paid like massive amounts of money to do this show? This is gold.
I need to send you. So Monday we're doing a special stream Monday. Mm-hmm. More of this stuff where I hate these genre monikers. So it's called "What the fuck is Black Yacht Rock?" Right? Or "What the hell is Black Yacht Rock?" And
that sounds like a Mr. Show skit to me. Is that a real? They really call it that?
Yes.
Oh. But, actually, it sounds like a Chappelle Show skit to me. Actually,
if I had the budget and could put Pascal in a wig on a yacht as we listened to these songs, I would do those things, and my life would be so much more filled with joy and happiness.
Oh man, you feel like you've really done it. You've really done it now.
I would have. Yeah, the internet would have smiled if I could have done those things. But
and I feel like that you see that imagery though. You see that imagery in like videos, but you don't. Like it doesn't sound anything like the music, but they I've seen a lot of that imagery associated in other genres. But it's so that's actually a thing that, like, who's calling it that? Like, is that a thing that they call themselves or like what?
I mean,
I can just listen to this show. I guess I don't. I mean, whatever.
There's people that disagree with me on the Yacht Rock thing. I think it's a pejorative that people like ironically, kind of like hair metal. Where it got this kind of weird resurgence in the 2000s where people were like, oh, yeah. I like this stuff. Look at me wear this dumb fucking wig.
Where they're into it, but also laughing at it at the same time, kind of ironically. Okay, sure.
But they only laugh at a handful of people in it, and they only laugh at what's going to be called the Laurel Canyon Crew. So that's like the Toto, Michael McDonald, Kenny Loggins, because those guys look like, Christopher Cross. Those guys look
Yeah.
like divorced single dads, and they're on these album covers with these big bushy beards, regular ass clothes. But at
Yeah.
the same time that
Right.
that music's coming out, it's getting made all over the country, not just in LA. And there's other people that are in it, and it's a fusion of a lot of different kinds of genres of music if you
Sure.
really listen to it. And there's black people doing it at the same time, but the way
okay.
they're featured in a lot of these documentaries is as an afterthought. Like, it might as well be called "And You Niggas Was There Too." Like, oh yeah, and you niggas was there too. There's this guy named George Benson. You guys were there too.
Oh, George Benson. Okay, sure. Okay. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Sherelle.
Okay.
Quincy Jones actually has, to me, the quintessential Yacht Rock album in The Dude, which comes out right before Thriller, and he's using the same musicians that we're going to use in Thriller that are kind of the foundation for what we're going to call this Yacht Rock music, but it's always looked at differently. Like, well, those people do it with more soul, so it's different. These guys are white. We can make fun of it. And it's like, go fuck yourself.
Well, okay, now that you kind of explain it more, I actually do know what you're talking about. And Quincy's an outlier, right? Quincy has done all kinds of stuff over the years.
Yes.
But I've never heard it characterized as that. But the whole Yacht Rock thing it's fascinating seeing that enter the lexicon and whatever is left of a monoculture we have multiple times over, kind of for multiple reasons and rationale. Like, they did that series, right? And then suddenly everyone was digging the music. Haha, isn't this funny? And then being like, actually, I kind of fuck with this. And actually, this is my whole identity now. Okay, well, it's interesting to see that happen multiple times for the same genre. Let's put it that way.
But let's get back to 95.
So you got Oasis on here. I also hate Oasis. Correct.
That's fair. That's fair.
And so first thing,
marketing was it let's be honest. Was it the marketing? Because it's like, oh, you guys like the Beatles? Here we got the brand new Beatles. Look at their hair. Their hair's like the Beatles too.
The marketing was odious, but I just thought that they were bastards to each other and everybody else. That was annoying to me. And they seem to have such a high opinion of themselves. And honestly, I just don't think the songs are as good as people think they are. They're formulaic. Are they bad? No, but who gives a damn? Because it's like, if you've heard like the Faces and like this obscure band called the Beatles, that it's like it's been done better, and they acted, and it's the British press loves anyone that acts like a English term cunt. They love it. They love it more than anything, and this is a perfect example of why that is terrible. I believe you, is how I would answer that, Matt. I believe you, Stone Roses to Coke in my friend's studio back in the day.
It's just such a random thing to write in the chat.
Okay. So I think Oasis is massively, massively overrated. Do I think they're a terrible band? Like, what I prefer Limp Bizkit to them? No, of course not. I will never electively listen to Oasis. That's not important to my life. And that was a sad cultural moment. And what's hilarious, all the stuff that I hated most about them is all the stuff that survived, which is, these guys are like always slagging each other off or slagging off this band or that band. That's all the stuff that I'm like, none of that matters. Their songs are like overrated.
We got to fucking hang out with this Matt Gilbert guy. It's motherfucker.
Matt Gilbert's
It's
lives some
fucking
life.
nuts, dude.
Live some life. Yeah, and then like now it's like people have nostalgia for it. I'm like, endless vomit dot emoji. Fuck Oasis. Sorry.
But Conan, though,
sorry.
is that part? But no, is that part of what I was saying earlier in the intro? That if you look at 95, there's this want to rehash. Even think about our style back in the day when people were trying to bring back the 70s.
Yeah.
So there's this thing where it's like, we're going to be the Beatles all over again instead of going, we're going to do something so brand new. And that is happening in the 90s as well with electronic music and some of the extreme stuff.
I think you're onto something because think about like, right, the grunge was a bummer. Everyone, it's from the Pacific Northwest. Everyone's depressed and sad. And it's like, oh, let's have something that's like happy and like, celebratory or whatever, even though it's like these guys seem to be the miserable fucks in the face of the planet. But okay, sure. Whatever. It looks good on you.
And they're like, why? Like, why are you guys so sad?
Yeah. So it's, and then, well, again, so Pulp did come out in 95. I think
Pulp's on here. I believe Pulp's on here.
probably later on, right?
Yeah.
It's that's a band that like does that and does it kind of cool and kind of interesting. And that's a band that I was never a huge Pulp guy, but undeniably more musically interesting and kind of just interesting in general. That's Different Class. That's the one that's got, I think that's got Common People, right? Which is huge. And honestly, great song, class conscious song, very class conscious song, Common People. And also a jam and a half. And if I was to pick one band, if I was like forced at gunpoint for some reason to pick one band from that genre, I would 100% go for Pulp for sure.
What else do we have on here?
We got Swans. We should give Swans out. We got Celebrity Lifestyle.
Hold on, you can't go that far down. I will walk to fucking where you live and choke you.
Fine.
I won't choke you. I'll wave my finger at
Jesus
you
Christ.
negatively.
All right,
First of all, death.
Yeah, all right, sure. What? Yes, there's a death. There's a death record on this. Yeah,
maybe
agreed.
the greatest death metal band for me of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the biggest fan of this record. Leprosy is my favorite death record.
I don't even remember this one. Yeah, this is
from it is 95, and this is right before they kind of.
Oh, this is like the second to
died.
last one, right? Yeah, this is.
Yeah, because he dies in 2001 or something like that, or 2000.
I mean, is this the one that's in? Oh no, I'm thinking. Never. I'm gonna. No, it isn't. I just answered my own question without asking it.
You're a huge Elliot Smith fan. How could you not cry when I just put this Elliot Smith?
I
right
bought.
here?
Can I tell you? This is the most indie rock thing I'm going to say all show. I bought the first two Elliot Smith 7-inches without knowing what they sounded like because it was like, oh, Kill Rock Stars, cool. Yeah, I think you put out 2G pretty good. I was like, oh, this is cool. But one of them, it was the B-side for, I said, Needle in the Hay. I can't remember, but I was like, this song's really great. In 1 million years, I never would have guessed that it would have become popular. He's great. I mean, like if you're looking to do Sad Bastard stuff, hey man, it was like Sad Bastard music for new generation, the saddest bastard, like.
And they never thought to call it emo.
I know, right? Well, and it's interesting because then you have the cultural cachet. Was it Good Will Hunting that had the Elliott Smith songs in it? I want to say it was, which was 97. Like. He became big and then was in that same Kurt Cobain way was like ill-equipped to handle that celebrity and was not in a position where it was a healthy thing for him at all. It's really sad. And I was right. It was Good Will Hunting, which was 97, where Miss Misery shows up on that. Elliott Smith writes good songs. Elliott Smith is the opposite of Oasis. Like, doesn't slag anyone off. Like, sweet guy, writes great songs.
Sorry, the cat. Is the cat in camera? Yeah.
The cat's still in camera. But, like, I stand by that assessment. Like, and I understand people being mad at Elliot, just whatever. Everyone's had that one obnoxious ex that, like, just continuously plays Elliott Smith songs ad nauseum until the end of time. But I will say...
I feel sorry for your dating life.
A tragic legacy, but Elliott Smith's good, man.
Come on, cat. Jesus fucking Christ, man!
Big Aphex Twin cat that cat is. We got to give a shout out to Swans, Great Annihilator. It's like their 9th record.
No, we're not giving a shout out to Swans. Everybody's gonna fucking wait for Swans, okay? You guys can all eat all kinds of dicks, and you will wait.
Fine, Deftones.
Because
Deftones,
not just Deftones, you motherfucker. It's first record by the Deftones. Cat, seriously, man, you got to make a shit or get off the pot.
This is the one and only time I saw Deftones was right about shortly after this record came out.
Really?
Which is this is this is the one with like
Bad Brains.
No, it was actually it was the first Warped Tour is what it was.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and again, I need to be clear. Nobody knew what that was going to become. Nobody knew what it was. It was just like, oh, here's this thing. All right, there's a bunch of bands playing. I like some of them. Great, I'm going to go to it because I'm like 17 or something, like whatever. Yeah, I saw them. Who else played? Far played. Remember them? Far.
Yeah. Willhaven? No.
I think. I don't think. Maybe if they did, I didn't know them. Dick Dale played for some reason. I remember that
That sounds
too.
about right. For
But
a warp
yeah.
tour, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and so yeah, they were good. I confess I didn't really know that much about them, but I was never, I didn't. I know you are a big fan.
I didn't give a shit about the band, and a friend gave me Around the Fur and said, "Let's just listen to this." Shout out to my buddy John Roeder that gave me that record, who I ended up playing music with for a bit. But I put in Around the Fur, and the first song, I was like, "Whoa, this is pretty rad." And so I went.
Yeah.
I'm a go backwards guy.
That's
listen
the
to
next
first
one,
record.
I think, right? That's the second record.
Yeah, that's the second record. Yeah, '97. And when I heard this record, which isn't recorded as well, so I don't know if you know the history of them. Terry
Not
Date
really.
produced these records, and Terry Date produced Pantera records. So when he got the gig to do the Deftones, he's like, "Okay, it's a metal band." They're like, "No, dude, we like The Cure." He's like, "I don't give a shit about The Cure. I produce metal records." So he's trying to give them this like sound like Metallica, where the mids are super high and so if you listen to this record, it doesn't sound that good. It's also an E standard. It's not
not even down tuned. But I think wasn't there in the late '90s when people were talking about new metal, weren't they trying to like retroactively say Deftones were new metal because of the production base?
No,
well, it's a dirtier record.
They really are part of that scene because they do come up with Korn and those bands from LA, because before it was called new metal, it was called LA metal. Linkin Park. Who else is from LA? Fear Factory was in there for a while. But anyway, this first record from the Deftones does not sound like the rest. But
I'm so insufferable because I got the first Korn demo tape, heard it, and I'm like, "Yep, they're from Bakersfield, all right," and that was my take on it.
I have a more.
Sorry.
I hated Korn for a long time, and then the Bitter Lake drummer Alex, because he's younger. He's like
the
younger
younger kids they fuck with that band so
Korn.
hard,
Yeah,
love them, and they don't see any difference between like that and like early '90s like grunge hits. And it's like, no, it was different universe. Are you kidding me? But that's not how it's.
Hopefully this will make the Deftones. You'll appreciate the Deftones more for this. So listen to this. So in 2000, when they released White Pony, it's out for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And the label hits up Chino and they go, "We don't have a single on this." And Chino's like, no, the album's done. The first single is going to be, I forget what the first single was they wanted. And the label goes, "No, we need a song like, Freak on a Leash. We need like a Korn song." And Chino's like, we did that with the first record, dude. We're beyond that. We're on some new shit.
We're not trying to
They're
do
like,
that.
No. So he says he goes home and he writes Back to School, which is basically kind of a remix of the last song on the record, but more rappy.
Yeah.
And he makes it as a fuck you, kind of like, what else is a song like that? Cherry Pie is that same way by Warrant.
Right. Yeah. And then it's like that becomes your biggest song ever now. Congratulations.
And that's what happened to them. They were like, and also the Deftones they won't tour with Korn because they don't want the that, hey, it's a new metal throwback.
Yeah.
Deftones and Korn.
Well, but it is interesting. I mean, my friend's in Chat Pile, right? Like Stin, one of his favorite bands is like Korn, at least a certain era of Korn. I love Chat Pile. Do I like Korn? No, never have. But like, I don't think I was a target audience either. At that point, I was already like, making music. I was starting to like, make my fixing to write my own records and stuff like that. Like it wasn't my world, and I wasn't. If I was in suburbia, maybe I would have liked it. I don't know.
Wow.
So anyway,
You gotta be in
Deftones.
suburbia to like it. That's so mean.
Come on. Are you gonna say that they didn't appeal to suburban boys? Really? Did you see that album cover? That's that second record. Come on now.
Korn? Was that the one?
No, I'm talking about Deftones now. I'm talking about
record
Around the Fur. I'm talking about when it's like that chick from the top. Hey, whatever.
You know they did a Where Are They Now on the chick, and they showed pictures of her, right?
I did not know that.
You haven't seen it? You should Google that one.
Shit. Okay. Well,
we can have an off-air conversation about that. That will definitely get us canceled. It'll get you banned. All the women in your group will quit. They'll be like, "We didn't know you were this kind of man, Conan." I don't think.
Yeah, and that was such I think the late 90s, there was a sort of like last gasp of that kind of like, we're just going to put a hot chick on the cover. Kind of like, all right. I get it. But...
I mean, hip hop didn't let go of it. You got to.
No, hip hop's like, we're going to stay in the Stone Age and we like it. All right.
Like, oh, we can put women in the videos? All right.
Yeah, great. Let's get somebody in on this. Yeah.
So
anyway,
the dog is here to protect me right now. So
Deftones.
The full animal kingdom is in here, and I'm going to see a fight.
Now, can we talk about Swans or no?
Please talk about Swans now. So
this is the one where Draw kind of turns into evil Johnny Cash, but in a good way. Like
That's it. That's a good one.
I mean, listen to it and tell me I'm wrong, right? I mean, they're still doing like, Killing for Company. You got let's write songs about serial killer who kills because he's lonely. It's classic Swan stuff. I Am the Sun on here. A couple Jarboe composed jams. I mean, Swans at this point, it's their 8th record, 9th record, something along those lines. Yeah. And if you were into Swans, you knew, and if you weren't, you were like, wow, this is jarring, but not in the same way that like some of the earlier stuff is. But it also is not. I mean, this wasn't like a pop, big pop record or anything along those lines, and just vibey, dark, goth industrial, starting to grow up kind of thing. Really, it's good though. Accessible Swans Together than maybe White Light for the goth waiters. Yep, Celebrity Lifestyle makes me think of Sonic Youth, that stuff. Yeah, Sonic Youth, but again, I'm gonna hammer home the Americana aspect, and like I don't say evil Johnny Cash lightly. Like there's definitely Southern Gothic, right? Like that kind of vibe thing, that undercurrent that runs through a lot of Draw stuff, but especially Swans around this time. And I don't think he'd be mad about that. I mean, it's an interesting cul-de-sac / alleyway of music that often isn't talked about. But I think they always, I mean, they played shows with Sonic Youth way back when, and then
they were all part of that same scene.
Mm-hmm. And I had Norm Westberg, who's on this record, on the show, and we talked about all that stuff, and Jarboe too. I've had Jarboe on the show also, and it's interesting. I feel like Swans. Thurston used to play bass for them. That's right. Swans, some director like a Lars von Trier or something is going to put a Swan song in one of their movies, and like a bunch of kids is going to become their whole identity. That is going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen like relatively soon, I think. I'd say Robert Eggers, but it'd have to be era appropriate. It's on his vibe. It'd have to be somebody that's like doing some dark ass stuff, but it's overdue. It's overdue.
What is your? I told you me and Chicky were on the same. We had the same PR company as Swans and Faith No More.
You mentioned that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it was very nice. I have nothing bad to say about Swans. Swans being a band enabled me to get reviewed in so many different magazines.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and that's a good fit too, because it's not like you guys are doing exactly the same thing, but it's coming to the same dark vibe thing,
Dark and weird, and what do you call this? Yeah. No, it's the reason why 95 for me kind of sticks out is less about the albums themselves as these wonderful pieces of art, and more about the fact that for the next record we're going to talk about, Aphex Twin.
Motherfucking Aphex Twin, dude. I went so hard for Aphex Twin way back when.
It's like, what the fuck is this, right? There's this crazy music that comes out in 95, and remember 94, we're just talking about flannel and right. Holy jeans, and just the next year there's all this insane electronic stuff that's dropping all over the place that is really going to be the future of music if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to overstate how exciting aggressive electronic music felt around this time, because there were people just doing very different things. I went back to this when I heard the Richard D. James album first, which is the one that came out the next year. Red House Painters, that's right. it makes me want to say something smart ass about Kotzlik, but I won't because that's nothing to joke about. Yeah. So I heard that one first, and I went back to this one, which is the I Care Because You Do. But also, way to like lean into, like, dude's a goofy looking dude, right? Way to lean into that and be like, oh, you think I'm goofy? How about if I look horrific? How about if I put my, crazy early CGI face on a bunch of bikini babes with big boobs and
Hilarious.
make like hilarious nightmare fodder for multiple generations to come? Amazing.
I want your soul.
I'm sure you heard the Dillinger Escape Plan with Patton version.
That's how
right?
I found Aphex Twin.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. I had seen the name and it didn't do anything for me. And just seeing the name, I was like, I don't want to list this. You're in Orb magazine. You're not going to do something I like. And so when I heard the Mike Patton thing with Dillinger, and then I was like, oh, dude, this is crazy. Well, let me hear what the Aphex Twin song sounds like. And I'm like, oh my God, they covered it note for note. Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, especially if you listen to it, because you're like, how? And then you listen to it, like, oh, okay, right on.
No,
Aphex Twin's great. Aphex Twin goes hard, and I fuck with the ambient works big time. That's probably the one I listen to the most, because it's like one of my go-to like chill out records, Ambient Works Volume 2. But I got nothing but nice things to say about Aphex Twin. I think some of it has some of that era. I think Square Pusher's age as well. Like, it's fine, but like I don't feel the need to throw it on.
Again, if you guys, wherever you're watching or listening to the show, the first link in the description should be the playlist for this, which right now is at 19 hours long. It's not completely finished yet, so
I'll help you juice it.
It's only one song from every album that came out in the year of 1995 that I can find. I always have to add I can find, because there's stuff that came out that's caught in licensing limbo. More stuff than you think is caught in licensing limbo, especially this 90s stuff.
Do you have Rock from the Crypt on there? Do you have Scream Dracula Dream on there? Okay, good.
I don't remember what song. Here, we'll go down the list. Let's go down the list.
Well, I want to at least shout out PJ Harvey before we move on, because that record.
You're gonna skip. Okay, shout out PJ Harvey.
Well, yeah. Let's okay.
Tupac.
Tupac. We all get it. There's a million documentaries. It's great. What do you want?
No. Fuck PJ Harvey, because I don't give a shit about this motherfucker when it comes to we could fight that chick right now. This Tupac record, sadly, to me, is probably his best album. He goes to prison when this album is out, and this is a great song. I think the late Shock G produced it, so it's even more sad to think that
Digital Underground, homie. Yeah.
In 2025, we're talking about two dead people that should only be in their 50s right now.
Yeah.
Shit
is alarming if you stop and think about it. Think about how old I am. God damn. Think about how old you are.
Yeah.
Both are asses.
Yeah, they're not that much older than us. And they're gone. One got shot and the other died. I forget how Shock G died, but D'Angelo was supposed to be the next Prince. I don't think he's Prince, but I think D'Angelo is an extremely talented musician.
Yeah, the record's good.
He also produced a lot of stuff in the 90s with those Soul Quarians.
I had an ex that was obsessed with D'Angelo, so I feel like my enjoyment of his music is constantly marred by having to think about how much I was just forced to listen to D'Angelo. But it's good.
I mean, that motherfucker was ripped too, so I would have been mad if that one video you just see the six pack, this camera just goes hella slow.
I'm sure that had something to do with it. That's all I gotta say.
And you just got this huge cock that you got to unroll like a long water hose. The whole thing just sucks. Sorry about that, man.
More I could say on that, but it wouldn't be on air. Let's put it on
air. Now I will shut up because we don't have to talk about Green Day. You can have the rest of the show to talk about PJ Harvey.
Yeah, I mean, we should at least mention Green Day. That's I was not my deal. I liked the first two records just fine. I didn't really. It wasn't my identity or anything. It's cool. It's a band doing a Buzzcocks thing. Right on.
Damn. Okay.
I mean, they're the first ones to be like, yeah, we love the Buzzcocks. Like, yeah, I know you did.
Yeah.
They have done really good things with their money, providing, like Can't Fail Cafe and stuff, like providing like jobs and community and stuff like that. I think if you're going to talk trash about like bands that like got big that like you maybe don't love the music, they should be low on the list. I think they've done a lot of good in the world.
They didn't leave the hood. They didn't leave the hood.
They didn't leave the hood. And they, by all accounts, they seem like they are decent enough guys. Trey Cool used to come into the Tower Records I worked at this year, and he would come in with like just an armful of CDs. Like, I'm not even kidding when I say an armful. I don't know why I didn't use a bag, but whatever. But he was buying like Johnny Cash and Shellac and Wu-Tang Clan. But the thing is, you know why he was coming to Tower Records? Because it was the 4th best record store out of 4 in Berkeley, and it's the only one he wouldn't get recognized. Because we had the squarest squares that ever squared. He could not. That man couldn't go into Amoeba at that time. Forget about it. Forget about it. No way.
No.
But he was always cool, And then like I'd be like, oh yeah, this one's really good. Yeah, love. This is my second favorite Stooges record. Whatever. It seemed like a guy that really liked music. So I know some people have had maybe less than good experiences with them, but as far as 90s celebrities go, they're still out and kicking. Good for them, honestly.
Yeah.
And there's enough of their songs that like, have I ever seen them? I don't think I've ever seen them, but I bet it's a good show.
Funny? I don't know if you feel this way about Green Day. They have a lot of hits. If you look at a band like Green Day, what's interesting to me about them is I feel like they embody that punk ethos that I'd write about, where it becomes this performative thing. And I'm not saying this in a negative way about them, because I think if whatever keeping it real is, I think they do. But what's funny is because politics is pop now.
Yeah.
And politics is cool, and you're not going to start a band anymore. You're going to start a podcast. The way those guys get shit on for doing things that would have gotten them props back in the day is so interesting to me. Like when Billy Joe has a meltdown about the world, people are like, oh my God, spoiled rock star having a meltdown. I'm like, well, that's some punk shit that he was doing when he was still broke.
Right. He was mad as hell when he was 17 because nobody gave a damn.
This isn't
like the rest of us. Hey, he just would have started a podcast. Ooh,
that's what everybody does now. But seriously, Conan, 20 years ago, some of these kids that you see with the podcast are like, this show's stupid. They would have started a shitty band. Mm-hmm. And why would you start a shitty band? It's way easier to start a podcast nowadays.
Exactly. Oh, God,
you can do it by yourself.
Yeah, starting a band, it's a lot of work.
Well, for a while, everybody wanted to be a DJ, right? I'm a DJ.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Nice Serato setup you got there.
Yeah. Okay, good for you. Anyway, PJ Harvey, To Bring You My Love. Great record. At the time, it's hard to remember now because we think of PJ Harvey now where it's like, oh, she does like, what used to be called AAA, adult album alternative, but like in an interesting way. It's always kind of cool. NPR, they fuck with her hardcore. But this is coming off of Rid of Me and the 4-track demos, which are basically alternate versions of Rid of Me, which are somehow even rawer. That this chick has just made some of the most exciting, crazy, and like transgressive rock music you've ever heard. And everyone's like, wow, man, she's going to do her In Utero or whatever next. And it's going to be amazing. And she went totally different. She started working with John Parrish and Flood. This is the one that's got Down by the Water, that big fish, little fish swimming in the water. That song. It's a cool song. I dig that song. And I actually dig this record. But for me, I was like, oh, hell yeah. New PJ Harvey record. Let's go. Let's ride. I'm ready. And she just started doing something different. She wanted to and to great success, to, I believe, Grammy-winning success, I want to say, and has just been a critical darling ever since. And I think that I have so much respect for PJ Harvey, but there's the creepiest and quietest track that would get played on our local rock radio station. Yeah, I believe it. Because it's super vibey. It's a super vibey song. I have such endless respect for PJ and everything she does, but I don't listen to much of her recent output.
Why is that?
I loved when. I don't think it's very interesting. I mean, if I'm going to go listen to something, I usually listen to the early stuff. She did a great show with Mick Harvey from The Cave and the Bad Seeds was in her band. Alan Johannes was in her band. Awesome, great presentation of that. That's more interesting to me in that way that some of the Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds songs post Sleazy Vegas record from 10 years ago, I didn't really care about. But then I heard like the band presentation. I was like, you know what? Actually, this is kind of cool. I'm kind of digging it in this way, just not sad laptop music. But I think To Bring You My Love is a good record. Just for me, it was a head fake in a way that, for my sensibilities as a young man, I didn't really appreciate. And I've gone back to it now and again. It's good. It's good. And I think Down by the Water, dude, if I wrote Down by the Water, I'd never stop patting myself on the back. But that song fucks. It's great. It's so good.
Well, also,
and it should be a hit. It's a hit that should be a hit, right? Which,
well, let's
just like you ought to know. My Alanis Morissette.
Let's move on because actually I have to get out of here. I have 10 more minutes and I have to hit the road.
Oh my God.
I
Wow.
have to be on a panel in Orange County that I'm totally not prepared for.
We're going to have to do like a second part or something because we didn't even get to Foo Fighters yet.
Well, I think we should probably break this year up because there is a lot of good hip hop in this year. So maybe
we got
a
Hum?
special hip hop show.
Jeez. Haven't talked about Rock from the Crypt. We haven't talked about...
Well, first, look, the late... How many dead rappers have we passed already on this list? Which is insane. The amount of dead rappers who should all be in their early to mid 50s.
Lastica, Matthew Sweet. Yeah, none of these people are dead. Like that's Sonic Youth Washing Machine.
David Bowie is dead though.
David Bowie, yeah.
dead.
Liquid Swords came out this year too. This is another.
This is the record.
Can't wrap this up in like 10 minutes. You kidding me? What are we trying to do here? Tricky. Oh, Tricky.
Your favorite Red Hot Chili Peppers record came out this year.
That's when the patron saint of the tattoo parlor, Dave Navarro, came into the picture.
I'm sorry.
The patron saint of the tattoo parlor.
He's just there.
Yeah, exactly. Just like Jesus. Every tattoo parlor. It's the law. It's the law. Gotta have
just
one up.
Abs. The eyeliner is perfect.
Oh my God. Yeah. That guy. I mean, we mentioned Guided by Voices, but we did not talk about Guided by Voices. One of the best Guided by Voices record came out this year. We didn't talk about Arch of Loaf, one of the best Arch of Loaf records this year. Rock from the Crypt I mentioned.
We have to mention this too before the show ends. We have to mention extreme metal.
We got to go back.
Do a second part.
The Rentals.
We can do a second part.
White people are going to be so mad if you don't cover The Rentals. Oh, you thought Weezer was white? Hold on. Hold my macchiato.
The white man kicks in the door like the Kool-Aid man and says, "You just wait 1 minute, bub. You just wait one.
Hold on, just
one goddamn minute here."
I'm imagining Crispin Glover Back to the Future.
Just kicking the door open. Ben, I get downstairs and Ben is just sitting there like this, just mad as shit because
so mad.
I actually.
Well, you also didn't cover the presidency of the United States of America. Okay.
Was that 95 when they did Peaches?
That was 95. Yeah.
I don't remember what's on here because all I could think when I was putting this together, I was like, I remember No Doubt, and I don't know if you know the history of No Doubt. When they they got signed young, right? And then they did their first record, it flopped. Mm-hmm. And then they recorded another record, and the label was like, we don't hear a single on this. These songs are too long. They liked that record, so they released it independently. Now, since their success of Tragic Kingdom, that record is out. So there's 2 No Doubt albums on here for that reason. But Tragic Kingdom is on here, and that record just fucking kicked the door open for that band.
Oh, for sure.
And they are still riding on the success of this one album, which is kind of insane 30 years later, if you think.
And it's still like connecting with, with the kids. I mean,
it's a fun fucking.
I was gonna drag him. I'm like, you know what? I want to drag No Doubt.
It's a fun fucking.
I'm gonna be mad at Hot Topic. Thank you.
You know what I mean? Like if you don't dig,
Everyone's got to
dig
start
it,
somewhere. Yeah, I mean,
it's a fun record. It's a really fun record.
Yeah, they've brought a lot of joy to people. A really lovely young woman many years ago put a No Doubt song on a mixtape for me, and I thought that was very adorable.
Was it Don't Speak?
No. It was
Spiderwebs.
It was. Yeah.
I'm walking in the spider webs.
And I was like, yeah, it's all right. I was like, okay.
It's all your fault.
Yeah, it was kind of right. Do you remember Dance Hall Crashers? Dance Hall Crashers were a thing for a hot minute. I believe they were Bay Area. They had a similar-ish vibe, but a little more, they were poppy, but like they didn't hit like Gwen Stefani did. But anyway, whatever. I don't want to spend the last like 5 minutes talking about No Doubt. Have peace and love. You know what else is on here? Fucking King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. Faith No More. How are we gonna like send that?
I totally want to keep talking about No Doubt now, just to fucking ruin your day, just to get you all mad. Make a sequin pop off your jacket.
Oh, dude, Osmosis came out this year.
Hold on.
The Aussie record.
Hold your.
We gotta do a second. I can't count. Aren't these shows like 5 hours long? I mean, I feel like each one of these shows could be like 4 different episodes.
Hold on.
We're not gonna talk about Fugazi, Bedford the Scraping. Jesus Christ.
Hold on. King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. I didn't know this until the guy was on my show a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. The artist for this, Eric Drucker, came on my show to talk about one of his graphic novels, and he was like, "Oh, I did an album cover for this band called Faith No More." I was like, "Which album?" He goes, "I think it's called King for a Day or something." I was like, "Oh, that's my favorite Faith No More record."
Oh yeah, NBD. Let's just drop that in the conversation about 20 minutes in. Oh, okay.
This by far is my favorite Faith No More record. It is the reason why I wanted to do music the way I do it, where it was so unpredictable. You can't really put your finger on what they're doing. Yeah. And I think it's still accessible in a way.
Oh, I think it's aged wonderfully. Yes, absolutely.
And all the bands that took from them, like the Deftones and Incubus and stuff like that, they all, kind of cite them as the guys where, they were just trying to be Faith No More. And
right. And you're like, yeah, we can tell.
Created their own thing. Well, some of those guys you can hella tell, yeah. But this record to me really sets the tone for what people are going to call new metal a little bit later.
Yeah, I think Album of the Year holds up a lot as well. But I think that's the most interesting record to listen to in 2025. I think probably as a record, I should say. But I think Midlife Crisis might be their best entry point as a band if you just don't
really
know them. Yeah, let's put it this way: for people in my world, right, where people are like, I think I know what that is. I've heard Epic. I'm like, all right, hold on, hold on. No, you don't. I know you think you know what that is. I felt the same way for years. Let me play this for you.
That's the worst song on that record, though. Epic is the worst song on.
Sure. I thought you thought Midlife Crisis. I'm like, my man.
No. Angel Dust? No.
Yeah. Angel Dust consists. See, we can just show Faith No More. But it's funny because, like, I feel like it's just weird what pops, right? Sometimes it's weird what pops, and that's not a grand epiphany or anything. But yeah.
If you wanna get into Swedish melodic death metal, and you're asking yourself, Jason, how does one get into Swedish melodic death metal? I would say, well, first you have to listen to At the Gates and listen to Slaughter of the Soul by At the Gates. If you really want to understand why Swedish melodic death metal is my go-to when it comes to extreme music.
And is the person asking this question in the room with us right now?
It's the cat. You're right. The cat. That's why the cat was so pissed off.
Like, make me that damn mixtape, bitch. I want that Swedish death metal.
I was turned. I found this stuff late. I'm not gonna lie and say in '95 I was like all the other cool kids that formed fucking splattercore death bands like Ghoul and shit like that. I was late to the party, but by the time I heard At the Gates, I was like, what do people say? The world was black and white, and then I heard At the Gates and I saw colors.
Yeah, like Wizard of Oz shit. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was just in love with the riffage, the really dissonant screaming shit that went with it. it was very different than the traditional shit that I was hearing from bands like Death, where I felt like it was getting a little formulaic. These guys are a great mix of what you and I grew up with in the Bay Area.
Oh, sure.
They love that shit. They were like, this is holy ground to them, the Bay Area, and kind of an evil twist on, I think, Metallica and Slayer.
Yeah. I hear you. I was just looking up to see what was on Osmosis, OZZ, Osmosis.
I found like the only song that was tolerable on that record.
Yeah, I was gonna say this record isn't good. I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, oh, this is garbage.
So, before we started the show, Conan goes, "There's a lot of bad records by good bands," and the Alice in Chains record in '95. I'm a late Alice in Chains fan, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going back and listening to stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, Alice in Chains is on this. Can't wait." I put it on. I'm like, "Oh, that song sucks. Oh, that song sucks." And Danny had said something on the grunge show that we did that I think is so true. He goes, "Oh, by the end, Alice in Chains had a grunge sound." And what that album sounds like, that self-titled album sounds like, is them no longer trying to be an LA band and being comfortable in their skin and trying to make a Seattle record.
What I remember most about it, because as I mentioned, I still worked at Tower Records for at least like half of the year for this year. It came out, because remember, this is the era of the jewel case, right? And it had like a three-legged dog on the cover, and it was like the jewel case was like neon yellow-green. And I was like, yo, that's crazy that it stood out so much. And people were buying it. I'm like, God, this must go super hard. Like, let's listen to it. I was like, because I was never a huge Alice in Chains fan in the first place. But I mean, like, look, I'm not a hater. Like, they got a couple songs that I dig. I dig the vibe on like Jar of Flies. You know what I mean? But like, they had their own thing, right? And then this one, I was like, this is like by the numbers. This is just like by the numbers, like, what are these guys doing? But the record, like, just the fact that it came in, like I want to say there was, like, Biohazard or something did something similar. But, like, for a band at that level, I know Biohazard, everybody, hi. But for a band at that level to do something so cool with the packaging, that was like, oh, man, I will give this a try now. And I was like,
No, Cat. This is my food, not your food, Cat. My cat's
big Alice in Chains fan.
Well, the cat's trying to eat my McGriddle, dude.
He's like, between bites, self-toast, Alice in Chains is the best one.
It's going to do the thing. Do the thing, Cat. Just do the thing. Do the thing. I'm not going to let you jump on me because you're going to kill me if you do. Oh, fuck it. Just
but I was
what
never
does that
a big
mean?
I was never a big Alice in Chains fan, but that I think that record is like, oh, this is probably what people who don't like Alice in Chains think Alice in Chains sounds like.
That's a very good description of a not fun record to listen to. Everything you said out of your mouth is I don't dig that record at all. But before we go, hold on. What should we?
We're gonna do a two-part. We're gonna do a second part for this, right? We're gonna do like pick it up because
no, I'm serious.
Let's do it.
Do you want next week? Can you do it next
week? I can do it next week. And actually, we're gonna have pre-orders of the new record up. So
so you can have a link.
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Yes. Yeah, because we can't. I mean, we got Fugazi. We got freaking Guided by Voices.
Unwound.
Yeah,
Flaming Lips.
Jesus Christ.
A really bad Iron Maiden record.
Yeah, not
good Primus record. Sunny Day Real Estate.
I'd say it's okay. We got to talk about that
record. That Iron Maiden.
No, the Primus record. I was saying.
Okay.
Oh God, Sparkle Horse. That fact, we got to talk about that Rancid record. Culturally, being from the Bay Area, we have to talk about that.
Fear Factory is
Elastica.
We didn't talk about.
Sugar.
There was some rap. What was it?
It's like saying Meshuggah.
Meshuggah, yeah. Also, we didn't talk about. Wait, where'd it go?
LL Cool J came out with the record.
Big L, who's also passed away. We didn't talk about Big L. We didn't talk about 3-6 Mafia. Oh, here it is. Raekwon the Chef from Wu-Tang. How can we not talk about Raekwon the Chef?
That's right.
So yes, we have to come back and do this again. We didn't talk about Jawbreaker.
Rock from the Crypt.
Ben Folds 5. Conan loves Ben Folds 5.
Jesus Christ. It's a really mid Urge Overkill record that came out that year that also I think Conan has that song in the Quentin Tarantino movie.
Isn't this the first Blonde Redhead record in '95?
Yeah, it's not the first one, but it's the first one with them as a trio, I think, if I remember right. It's not the one that Vern produced. The one that Vern produced is the best one. That's the one after that.
This is the last good Van Halen record.
Mirrorball by Neil Young, which is actually pretty cool. That's actually worthy of discussion as well.
And we also have to discuss in depth, and I don't give a fuck what Conan says, Selena Quintanilla and her English album that came out this year in 1995 that sadly she dies before it comes out, and we don't get to see her become the Latina Whitney Houston. So, no, that
sounds interesting. I mean, I wasn't familiar.
I listened to her voice. I think she could have done a lot of different things. I think she would have done a lot of different things when she truly crossed over, because there was, I won't call it a glass ceiling, but there was definitely a ceiling on Tejano artists, but she spoke English fluently. She's from the States. And when she made that English record, it really falls in line with a lot of the Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston stuff of the time. But she also was a big rock fan. So we will never.
You stumped the neutron on this one. I don't know. I'm just not familiar.
She had a fucking wonderful voice, and keep in mind, she had been singing professionally since she was like a preteen.
Okay.
So she was I've never seen someone so made for the camera, so likable.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out how she dies, and even the way she dies is tragic. She's trying to like reckon with this woman that has robbed her for thousands of dollars, and gets shot and killed, and it's just fucking tragic.
So I guess tune in next week for part 2 of this, where the conversation will be 1/4 what Jason was just talking about, and me trying to wedge Fugazi Unwound, Hum, Arch of Loaf, Rocket from the Crypt, Guided by Voices, etc., and as quickly as I can get information out.
And we haven't also talked about a lot of the hip hop that came out in '95, because there's some great fucking rap albums that came out in '95.
We should. I know. I goofed on it.
Came out in '95.
We did a little bit, Aphex Twin at least, but like there's an Annie Lennox record that came out this year too. Jars of Clay. Wow.
There's a lot of shit. Yeah.
We should talk about That Dog. That Dog is interesting, if nothing else, because of what everyone in that band has done since then. Also, that is just an interesting story too. I mean, like, look, Oxbow, friend of the show, Eugene Robinson.
We should maybe try to bring Eugene in.
Hell yeah, why not? Let's do it
and have him talk a little bit about.
This is what we should. We should have done like. So yeah, this should have been like a mini series, but we like can. Because whatever, some of these episodes are long enough to be a mini series. Am I right? Jesus Christ, not this one, but other ones. Especially,
and it's my fault.
Well, we go off on some tangent. We just start bullshitting. Like, oh yeah, we're doing a show. God damn, we better reset it. But like, it would be interesting to do DC Talk. Oh my god, I looked at the screen. DC Talk was on there.
every album that I can find in 1995, I put on.
Did you put on that Bloodhound Gang record?
Yes. I remember that.
Yeah.
I actually remember thinking to myself, really? Yeah. No.
It's not the one that Toshi worked on.
He worked on a Bloodhound Gang record?
He did. And he worked on one of the ones that had like a huge hit.
Oh, the Me and You, Baby, let's do it like they do on the Discover. Yeah.
The one that sounds exactly like New Order? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, let's make a New Order song. Great. It sounds like this. Huge hit. Awesome. These guys seem like the worst people I've ever met in my life, but congratulations. Like, aren't they from the OC? I feel like they're from the OC, right? They have to be.
Like,
they have to be. Listen to DC Talk as a 13-year-old Christian weirdo. That is, look, if it gets you into weirder music, good on you. If you're listening to DC Talk as a grown-ass adult, and not like, oh, wow, yeah, DC Talk, that's a different story. Everyone's got to start somewhere. You know what I mean?
I'm actually kind of excited to do this like back home in the studio and not being menaced.
Not have Cat Intel Pro stalking your ass.
Dude, fucking Cat's trying to
make me my mix. God damn it!
What was the band the Cat wanted again?
It was the Swedish melodic death metal, right? That was he wants it. Give it to him.
There's so much black and death metal. I want to say this before we go, because I need people to understand that I'm literally just taking an album. I see the album, and around the 90s, you try to hook people with the first song. So if I don't know the artist, I just take, by 4 hours into making this, I'm just taking the first song, right?
You gotta consult my ass, dude. Come on.
There's no way in the world you know the Ulver and what album they released in 95.
I'm fine with not knowing what that is.
Yeah. Yes, like I knew. But anyway, my point is, I'm sure there's some Nazis in this list of music.
Right, sure. That genre is rife with it, unfortunately. Yeah.
I don't
actually. Maybe the fascists had a point. No, they didn't. They really didn't. No.
I don't know. I don't want you guys thinking that I'm promoting Nazi. I just didn't take the time to Google, hey, is this guy a Nazi? Didn't care.
The thing about German National Socialism is you really have to hand it to them. No, stop. No, you don't. No, stop. Stop. Desist.
So I'm totally sure that I'm going to get a message. Oh, there's this band right here said all niggers are F words. Okay, I get it. I didn't know.
What I really meant to say was all
F words are there.
What was that from? That's a
David
bit
Cross.
from someone. David Cross. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. God, I lost my.
So I don't want anyone to think that I'm sitting here. Oh, what is this guy talking about? I don't know anyone's political beliefs in this black metal stuff. So please have some mercy. Someone says there is no what's NSBM? I forget what it means. Nazi Socialist. Oh, National Socialist black metal. I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Did you see what Kush look wrote? James Baldwin. James
You know, I mean, I can hear it. That's all I'm saying.
I have to go play pretend serious guy in Orange.
You have to be cutting up on this, yeah. But you know what? What's funny is we like we're hitting the coconut like early in this show, so it's good to do a second part. Because we'll come at it like next week, like
very serious,
staunch,
very serious,
serious business.
So listen to the playlist, guys. Right now, the number one downloaded playlist that we've done is 1993 is still in the lead. Everyone loves 93 for some reason.
It's a good year.
95 is coming up. The grunge show actually had a lot of downloads too. Yeah.
There's a lot. I think 93 probably has more more record. I shouldn't look at the comments. God damn it. Has more awesome records, but I think there's a lot of artists. It's every year, but this year that like, oh, that's a cool story. That's interesting. That led to this other thing, so on and so on. So I can see at least a few of those here. And there's also someone's like, hey, this band's good. This record is dog shit. Like, it's like, what were they even doing? Because it's 95. People are like, everybody, Nirvana's out of the picture, right? And so it's like, oh, well, who's going to be the next Nirvana? Even more so than normal. And honestly, I think that's why anybody gives a damn about Oasis, frankly. But whatever. I'm a noted hater of Oasis, Conan Neutron.
We were sitting next to
Thank you.
There was a 21-year-old kid that we met last night at the Rainbow that had an Oasis shirt on, so they are still relevant. There you go.
There was a young lady I used to work with years back who always wore an Oasis shirt. She wore it well, is what I will say, because I'm a gentleman.
Oh, okay. Well, then props to that. Well,
but
thank you very much.
I couldn't be literally any band of that one.
That's what you get, dude. It could be worse. It could be a Mariah Carey shirt.
Mariah Carey. What would be the worst act from 1995 to wear a shirt from? Like, what would be the most embarrassing or cringe, as they say? I don't know, Bloodhound Gang, probably.
Yeah, I feel like someone that had.
Let us know in the comments.
Shirt on. Yeah, that's
sort of like
that's a great segue to the end. Yeah.
Ladies, cover your drink if you see a man wearing a Bloodhound Gang shirt. Ooh. that note.
You're definitely gonna get roofie collated if he's wearing a Bloodhound Gang shirt. There's no way around that at all. At all. Yeah, okay, that's what you. Okay, who are the Cover Your Drink bands? Leave us a list in the comments of the Cover Your Drink bands. God. And so thank you guys. If you're in Irvine, come check out me and Ben. We have to hurry up and get down there so we don't get stuck in LA traffic. Conan, you have a very good rest of your day in snowy ass wherever you are, because I won't tell people where you are. And I love you. Thank you for doing this with me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be back Monday to talk about Black Yacht Rock.
Checks notes. Black Yacht Rock.
I don't think it's a real genre. We're going to discuss it. My good friend and co-host Pascal Robert is very excited to come on the show and talk about this. All right.
Well, and then part 2 of this next week, same bat time, same bat station, right? Yeah. So there you go. And I got news to drop.
So we are out.